because we all found out today Russell Wilson signed a new contract guaranteeing him lots of money, $165 million. $165 million guaranteed. That falls behind Deshaun Watson, who's well over $200 million, behind Kyler Murray, just signed his deal with the Arizona Cardinals. And here you are with Russell Wilson, who's going to be with the Broncos, at least with the money-wise, not just the years, but the money. He's going to be with the Broncos for a long time. What are some takeaways or your major takeaway from this deal with Denver for Russell Wilson?
Well, number one, it was inevitable. When you make that trade, you know Russell's going to get paid. But what surprised me a little bit is that Russell typically does these deals, these 4-year deals with a year left on his contract. And he had a couple of years left. So he did it early. And knowing how the salary cap is going to keep jumping exponentially over the next few years with all this new revenue money coming in, from a financial standpoint, it would have benefited him even more to wait another year to do this deal. But who am I to quibble with getting nearly $250 million, and as you say, almost $200 million guaranteed? But, you know, the larger point here to me, Michael, is this. When I think about Russell, look, he was always going to get paid. We knew that, and he has made money throughout his career at this point after being a third-round pick. But when we talk about Russell now, are we talking about his financial legacy, or are we going to talk about his football legacy? And this move to Denver, to me, is as much about his football legacy than anything else. Because if you know Russell Wilson, and I have spent time with him going all the way back to his first year before he was even named the starter in Seattle, everything has been about wanting to prove that he is one of the best, if not the best in his mind, right? So your legacy now, you leave Seattle and you go to Denver, where basically you're getting everything you want. Now you get an offense that's going to be tailored to you. There's no more trying to say we need balance and this, that, and the other. They're going to let Russell cook. So if you talk to Russell, he wants his name mentioned in the same vein as the Bradys, the Mannings, the Favres, and as we see Mahomes heading in that direction. When you do that Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks, he wants his name on it. And I've never been around a quarterback who will tell you, who is a great quarterback, who has to say to you, I know I'm great, which is what Russell has done. And that tells you how much this matters to him in terms of legacy. So as I watch what's going to transpire in Denver, yeah, this contract, we knew it was coming at some point, but I still can't get past the point of what this move was all about for Russell. And that's about his legacy.
Well, you talk about his legacy and how he wants to be mentioned among the greats. Do you get the sense, because I don't want to be presumptuous and say nobody calls Russell Wilson this. I just feel like from where I sit, he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Like some of his numbers, not just the winning number. Everybody talks about, oh yeah, Russell just wins. Yeah, Russell just wins. But if you look at his numbers, he's going into his 11th year. Look at some of the numbers from his first 10 years, passing numbers. Those are all-time great. He's approaching all-time great passing numbers for his years in the league. And he's got a lot of stats like that where you go, ooh, that's not just good. That's great. Do you think he gets the credit that he deserves for his greatness? And do you think he notices? If your answer is no, do you think he notices that he's not getting the props that he deserves?
Oh, he absolutely notices. Again, when he has to say to the media, I know I'm great, that tells you he is saying to all of you people out there who think I'm not, I think differently. I not only think I am, I know I am. And here's the thing with Russell, and if I know him the way that I think I do, and from talking to people around him over the years, I think I have a little bit of a feel for him in this standpoint. I think it bothers him that when we talk about the two Super Bowls that he went to, the first one that they won is credited to the Legion of Boom. And the second one, the loss, is credited to him and Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll calling a pass down at the goal line and Russell being intercepted there. I think in his mind, and this is just me, he has never said this to me, I think he wants to get to a Super Bowl and have it be about Russell in terms of winning a championship. And again, that's part of what I believe this move is all about.
Yeah, but see, and I think if he feels that way, Okay, on one hand, I understand it. On the other hand, I feel like you really get into trouble as an athlete, as a journalist, as a lawyer, whatever, if you start chasing storylines. If you want to script it so people will say fill in the blank. Look, Trotter, you know this as well as I do. People are going to say what they're going to say. Sometimes they'll get it right. Sometimes they'll actually get the storyline exactly right. And sometimes they're totally off. Don't worry about that. You can't chase that because I think that is the path to dissatisfaction. And the other thing that stands out to me, and this is pro Denver. You think about the compensation they gave up. So what? You know what I mean? But you get a great quarterback. Now I step back and look at it. Okay, they gave up 2 first-round picks. They gave up 2 second-round picks, another draft pick. They gave up some players. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter for a couple reasons. One, you got an all-time great quarterback who wants to play for another decade, and by all indications, I think he'll be able to do that. And the other thing that stands out is, look at this is the extreme. I understand. Look at what the Raiders did when they traded Khalil Mack. Okay, they got a lot of draft picks. They look like everybody was excited. Wow, look at the compensation the Raiders got. And they blew it. So you can get a haul of draft picks, but if you don't know what you're doing, you might as well give them to me. So, right? I mean, it almost doesn't, it doesn't matter how much they gave up.
No, I'm with you on that. Look, we understand that it is a quarterback-driven league. As such, if you have a chance to get a truly franchise quarterback who's still in his prime, you do it if you're chasing that championship. And so I have no problem with the compensation that Denver gave up here, but I think that puts even more pressure on Russell to say, look, this is what you wanted. You left Seattle where over what, your first 8 years, I believe you went to the playoffs. We know about the winning percentage, a couple of Super Bowl appearances, 1 title, all of that. And that wasn't good enough because they weren't building that offense to suit what you wanted to do. I'll never forget Pete Carroll telling me one time that when he was at SC, one of his early years, if not his first year, he had Carson Palmer as his quarterback. And Carson Palmer ends up winning the Heisman, but the Trojans end up going 500 or somewhere around there. And Pete Carroll said to me, I never want to be beholden to a quarterback again. And he always tried to build USC after that to where they could win championships without being dependent on that one player. Well, now he gets to the NFL and they get Russell Wilson and everything is dependent on Russell Wilson. And we know about the friction that had gone on in recent years there among coordinators and Pete and how they wanted to play, yada, yada, yada. So now Russell has what he wants. And if he does not win a championship, a lot of people are going to point the finger at him. And that's just the reality of the NFL and the way it goes. To whom much is given, much is required.
Tell me about it. Preach it. Preach it. Now, if you look at that division that he's in right now, and you look at the quarterbacks in the division, forget about the teams. Just think about the quarterbacks in the AFC West. This is crazy. So the worst, in quotes, the worst quarterback in the division is Derek Carr. You got Patrick Mahomes, you got Russell Wilson, you got Justin Herbert, you got Derek Carr.
And Derek Carr could ultimately end up having one of the best seasons out of any of the 4 this year, I believe. Yeah.
So when you look at this team, I want you to start answering your question or you know what you propose if he doesn't win. I know, not that he has to win this year, but do you think the Denver Broncos will be a good team? Do you think they'll be a playoff team? Because most people have said, you know, Russell Wilson coming in there, oh, they're a quarterback away from being in the playoffs. I'm not so sure they were or are, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think they are in terms of being a playoff team and being there. I do think that over the last couple of years, they have been a quarterback away. You got to remember who they've had, Michael, in recent years, man, even going back to last year with Drew Lock, who now can't even beat out Geno Smith. And that's no shade at Geno. It's just it might be. It should be. It should be. I think Geno, to me, is a very good backup. I do not think that Geno is a 17-game starter. That's just me.
Me and you. And
Drew Lock can't beat out Geno Smith for that job. So think about the quarterbacks, and he was the most recent quarterback the Broncos had. So from my standpoint, I do believe that Russell will get them to the playoffs. But then what happens after that? That's where it gets interesting. And look, Michael, the fact that they added a playoff team again last year to push it up to 7 now, I mean, it's almost harder not to make the playoffs than to make it. That's how I feel about it now. Because I remember I was going through my preseason predictions and I'm looking at the NFC, for instance, and I'm like, man, okay, how far down the line do I have to go, to fill out this bracket? Because all of these teams to me aren't deserving, but you got to pick 7.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.